Hello, welcome back to the Tea Party. I'm Globe, your host, and this is Verbal Tea, where we explore topics through journal entries that focus more on our inner voices than those around us. Today, we are continuing in the spirit of National Poetry Month by exploring the power of creative expression. And today, I have an amazing guest to explore this with. This person is a life coach, a poet. They are just a creator with words and wordplay all around. They can do almost anything they want to do creatively and have been involved in so many things. I am so excited to be able to introduce to you Tone Motivates.
Hello, everyone. Hi, Globe. Thanks for having me.
Thank you so much for being here and joining our party. How are you doing today?
I'm good. It is beautiful out here in Jersey, so I'm loving it for now.
For now, you never know. I know there was an earthquake recently, and you guys are kind of close to that area. Did it impact you at all?
It did. I was actually in like a small little mini convenience store, and I'm like, "Am I bugging?" And then I see the window shaking and stuff. And literally 10 seconds later, my son calls me like, "Mom, are you up?" I'm like, "I'm at the store, son." He's like, "Did you feel that?" I'm like, "Yes. Are you okay?" Yeah, it's kind of scary though. So a lot of
Oh,
people in the cars didn't even notice with all of the driving and stuff like that. And my friend that I was with didn't notice it either. So I'm like, how are two people together? But that's all perception and how you look at an experience. But yeah, like I got a million text messages like it was my birthday, are you okay? All of that stuff. But it was really quick. It was really quick. Before you grasped what was going on, it was over.
okay. Well, fair enough. Maybe that's why a lot of people didn't really notice it
Mhm.
because you have to be really present, I guess, if it's just that quickly.
Exactly.
Oh, but that would have been jarring to just, oh, that's
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah.
I know a lot of people were kind of shook about that because it's like, this is in California. What's going on here?
Right. But we have the solar eclipse coming as well. So I forget exactly where in the Bible, but in the Bible it literally says that that we'll basically get an earthquake and then will fall on darkness and something like that. And I thought that was really cool. I saw it on social media and they literally highlighted that part. I'm like, oh my God, I gotta go see that for myself. But
Ooh.
yeah, so that was pretty interesting as well.
That kind of reminds me of the Passover from the Prince of Egypt.
Mhm.
Remember when they all had to like mark their doors with the blood of the lamb
Right.
to protect their firstborn sons. That kind of
Hmm.
reminds me of that. I wonder if that's connected. That's re- an unlocked memory from forever ago. But I wonder if that's connected because Passover is coming up too. So,
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Look, I'm a conspiracy theorist, so if anybody says anything, it's to me there's some kind to truth to some kind of truth to anything that we can think of.
yeah, that's fair. There's always it's always connected to something
Mm.
tangible. You can always find where it came from. It's not out of just thin air.
Right.
So that's fair. Well, I'm so glad you're safe. I love that you dig into that because I'm always curious about stuff like that.
Hmm.
Um, well, before we get started with our tea party, I want you to just be able to just flex and tell the audience more about yourself.
All righty. Well, I am Tone Motivates. I am a mindset coach and family therapist, cognitive behavior therapy. I'm also a social emotional learning teacher. So anything about getting deep down into your thoughts and why you take or why you act this way and just changing it to get the life that you want is all that I'm about. I strive on motivating a person a day or motivation for the nation, as I like to say. And you just never know what someone's going through. A simple smile, good morning, how are you? Or, just not flipping a person off on the parkway. All of those things goes back to how we react to stuff. And although things happen to us, we have the control to actually, hone that in and think of what our reaction is going to be. So pretty much I was the oldest of four girls. My mom was a single mom. So I was like the second mom. I'm the
Mm.
manager and all of that stuff. And we were always in the house. I always was babysitting because my mom worked part-time and stuff. So we were very, very creative. We grew up in the 106 in Park and MTV TRL days. So we knew all of the dance moves. We recorded the songs and the videos, and we did the moves, and we literally would like freestyle with one another. We would record mixtapes and sell it to
Yeah.
our friends. We would have house parties, so it just really pushed us creatively. And I remember vividly, my friend gave me a book, Coldest Winter Ever by Sister Soldier. I think I was in about seventh or eighth grade.
Good
And it
book.
just blew my mind as far as urban literature and just starting to push me into like poetry and stuff like that. So I wrote my first piece around that time. And, I just ran with it. I just ran with it. So literally, if there's anything that I want to try as a motivational coach and a mindset coach, I simply tell people I don't have it all together. I'm simply a tour guide. I'm a step or two ahead of you. And my hope is that with me going over that speed bump, I can help you navigate around it. So I've done everything from voice acting to silent modeling, foot modeling, voiceovers, hosting, interviewing. I do nonprofits, volunteering, anything pretty much that's given back to the community and letting people know that they're not alone. I recently took up poverty prevention. So I'm a poverty prevention specialist, and it's basically to help people, more so people that look like me,
Hmm.
protect their income. You know what I mean? A lot of us try to keep up with the Joneses, and we don't have a lot of financial education that is taught to us, but it's a lot of resources out there. And as I'm getting older, I'm in my mid 30s now. If unfortunately our friends and our family start to pass on a little faster than we remember when we were kids, and
Hmm.
I'm simply just sick of the GoFundMe accounts. The only thing that I wish that if I was to leave this earth today, that even though my son would mourn for me, he could still stay in our residence. He could still have the car. He could still go about life as he would have if I was here, because I made sure that he was financially secure whether I was here or not. So basically, all wellness in any way that you could think of. I'm here to just push you to do better. I'm here to listen, see what it is that you want, help you come up with goals and milestones to get you there. And, just to know that you are enough. And if you don't believe in yourself, who will? People can tell
Hmm.
us all the time, you got this, you got this. But if I don't feel like I got it, typically, you know what I mean, I'm going to not do my best or flunk in some way or whatever the case may be. So I just exude that confidence. It doesn't matter whether I wasn't confident or not. You're not going to know that, you know what I mean? But it was something that I had to work on from within as well. So I just try to help pull those nuggets out of people so that they can live their best lives confidently and on their terms.
Wow, look at that. You had a divine purpose from childhood. It's so funny. You were the oldest daughter, and instead of turning away from nurturing once you were out on your own, you just fell deeper into it on a broader scale.
Right, right.
I love that. I love that. That is so beautiful. And I really appreciate that because so many people, there are so many life coaches now, and a lot of them are on their divine path, but some people just think they have it all together. And so I
Mhm.
love that you are honest about it. You're like, I did get through this speed bump. This is how far I am in the process, but it's still a process. But these are the tools I use. So hopefully they can help you.
Right.
That humility is paramount when it comes to guiding someone, because if you have it all together, that often intimidates people from wanting to be honest and vulnerable. So I love that you were so honest, and you're on your divine path. That's all I can say is it's clear you're on your divine path.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yes, well, we'll get right into it. Thank you so much for telling us more about yourself. And of course, all of her information on how to reach her and what she's a part of will be in the show notes as well. Um, well, you told me earlier you explored all of the prompts. So I want to know which prompt stuck out to you the most or you spent the most time on?
Honestly, it is the last one. And I believe it's where, like, what my goals are or where I want to be. I don't want to mess it up. Let me get,
Oh,
oh, what is my
ultimate goal.
ultimate goal as an artist and has it changed over time? And that's just because I'm kind of like a Jackie of all trades.
Mhm.
So a lot of times, like I literally have different scripts or different points that I will mention depending on the type of people I'm around, the audience that I'm around, right? Because if I am at a back to school event, I'm concentrating on the kids more
Mhm.
so than the adults. Whereas if the kids come, the adults are going to come too. If I'm at a music event, then I am going to focus more on, let's say, podcasting and stuff like that instead of, the other aspects of it. So it all depends. And just in totality, I want to be known as just literally Tone motivates in every aspect. Tone motivates is the umbrella, and I have so many things under it that can help you as well. So I would say that's why that was my favorite one.
I love it. So your name is your mission. I
Yeah.
love that. That's true alignment right there. I spent a lot of time with that one too. For me, I don't feel I won't say that. I have struggled with feeling like a true artist because the way I was raised, it was better to be seen than heard, and all of the classic Christian child psychology things.
Hmm.
So me writing my poetry was just for me. Dancing was just for God, and all of these things. And so I never felt like an artist. I just felt, even as an adult, I was just saying yes to opportunities. I never really went and auditioned for anything. I was just saying yes. So I never felt like an artist. So I didn't have a goal. So right now, I feel it will evolve. But right now, as someone who is leaning and honoring their artistic and creative side, my goal is just to define what that is, to have my own way. Like, I'm an Aquarius, so I've got to have my own way. I
Hmm.
want people to know, like, that is Globe's style, that is Globe's way, and that motivates and inspires people to know that they can step in to the scene and be true to themselves and be unique and still be recognized. So that's where I'm at right now, and we'll see where it evolves once I feel affirmed in being an artist.
Well, like I've said before, you got this. And I think when it comes to art, it's one of the most vague, broad, like, you know what I mean? Like, it's so many different facets when it comes to it. Like, just the way that we dress, whether you
Mhm.
dress or you style your dress, like, that's art. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? Like, the way that you have your hair, that's art. You know what I mean? Like, all of this is art. So I like to literally look at myself as the damn Mona Lisa. You know what I mean? Because it doesn't matter what it is that I put out there. I'm being authentic. I'm living in my truth. And that's the main thing, Globe. You're living in your truth. You get up, you're happy to do what you're doing. You're curious, you want to find things out, and that's all that matters. I could do this for the rest of my life. And if you can answer something simple as that, you're already on that path and you're already a part of the art. I feel like art is one of the, sad to say, but one of the only places really that's left that accepts everybody
Mm.
no matter what they do, how they look. It doesn't, like, I seen a video with a lady that made an outfit out of the potato bags that the guys deliver to restaurants.
Wow.
So it's like it wasn't cloth. It was like those brown bags that looks like they're woven. A
Mhm.
whole entire outfit, including the pocketbook. Now,
That's
absolutely not.
dope.
I can't do it. I don't even ask, don't even try. She could literally have an outline and, all of that. But that's her calling. That's something that she does just because she knows how to do. So just what we're doing right now. Some people are shaking, like, oh my God, in front of a camera with a microphone and winging it, like flowing, like so it's something for everyone. And our message needs to be heard. So I said that to say, keep going. You're doing it now, just keep striving and stuff like that. And people are going to notice, and you're going to come to a point where you don't even have to say what it is that you're doing or that is Globe's way. They're going to know. soon as they see it, they're gonna be like, oh, there go. You know what I mean? Like it's nothing really else to say. My friends say I'm busy, I'm a busybody. I'm always doing something. I'm always multitasking, but I'm genuinely happy with that. I keep myself busy. I keep myself out of trouble. Every single day is 3 or 4 things that I'm knocking out that's going towards a bigger goal. And that's just how I keep myself engaged, So, as long as you're engaged and you're just trying to do better, be better, that's all that matters. That's all that matters.
Yes, I love that you even talked about creative expression and art being the one guaranteed area where everyone is accepted, because that is what it seems like. That is the consistent safe place we have now, is in art. You see so many people embrace, no matter how they look like. Even with TikTok, content creation is definitely art. And people do these no face brands, which is amazing to me. That's a whole art. To grab people without them seeing you is an incredible skill. So I love that you even just said that, because it is true. It's the one place where everyone is still accepted, regardless of income, regardless of appearance. Someone's going to hear you. People are going to recognize what you've created.
Yes. And TikTok is one of my favorites. You can't tell me I'm not a TikToker. The kids laugh at me and all of that, but I genuinely enjoy it. Typically Sundays are like a self-care day for me, so I'll be on TikTok all day trying to figure out a dance, and then once I get it, I hop in the shower, I get dressed like I'm going somewhere, and I do the dance. And it's like it takes me back to a more nostalgic time, like growing up with my sisters, because we recorded the actual video off the TV and rewinded it over and over and over again until we got it. And it's like, now all I got to do is look at a 30-second video and I got it, So, just that form of expression, I love it. You know what I mean? Because it's so to the point, and you just literally seeing people in action. So I would say that's probably my favorite app right now, my favorite social media app outside of working and promoting and content creation and all that stuff. Just as a person, TikTok got me. I am a TikTok fan.
I love it. I know there's controversial skits and whatnot, but I love seeing the dance challenges.
Mhm.
And I love the skits where they pretend that that person doesn't know them and starts dancing with them, because it's
Right.
still magical. Those are I love those. Those work on me every time. I know it's fake. I don't care, because that's fantasy and it's just beautiful. And
Yeah.
even if it is fake, that person decided to participate in this skit. And so being able to coordinate that is just
Right.
a beautiful thing. It says a lot about the art and that connection between them. So yes, I am stuck on Reel. So I am just stuck on them.
Yes.
Okay, so well, I guess you kind of answered it. What got you into creative expression? But what is the power of it to you? Like what is the power of expressing yourself creatively?
It means everything to me. Just with being the oldest, and it's like, okay, you have to carry yourself this way and this and that. And growing up in the church as well, I went to school in the church. My grandmother cleaned the church. I was always like not necessarily shunned, but in the back of your head, like you always have devil and God on your shoulder. Don't do it, do it, don't do it. This is wrong. You sin. And then it's like constantly every single day, no matter what you do, you're questioning if it was the right thing or not. And it doesn't have to be that deep, but I walked around with that for a long time. I would say probably my early 30s. I had like a tower moment where everything was like just collapsing in front of me. And I really sat down like just with myself for a month. I cut everything out, nothing extracurricular, and just sat with myself and journaled and listened to jazz and, just was with myself. And it came to me one day like, okay, you don't have to be scared of God or always feel like you have all this weight on your shoulders. God is the quarterback of your favorite football team. And then the first line is your newly passed over loved ones. And then the line after that is your ancestors. And then the line after that is your spirit guides, nature, whatever it is that you want to call it. I literally felt like weight lifting off of my shoulder. And the reason why I brought that up is because once that happened, I felt like I was able to be more authentic to myself. I came from corporate America. I couldn't really be the quirky Tone Motivates that I'm known to be, who I truly am. I always had to filter myself. And with growing up, it was the same way. You know, I felt unheard a lot of the times. I felt like I was the person that made things happen, but I was never acknowledged for it, you know, or even like a
Mm,
small pat on the back or whatever the case may be. So when I had that tower moment, I felt very shamed, very judged. Literally, like I had a spotlight, like TMZ was following me 24/7. Like that's
oh,
genuinely how I feel. And I actually broke down on a podcast years ago when they asked me about like I couldn't hold it back or whatever. But to me, that was one of the most raw times that people ever got to see me at because I didn't know, you know, things were just flowing. I didn't know that's how I was going to feel. But because of that shame, because of that judgment,
mm,
my journaling was all that I had. You know, nobody cares what I wrote in my little notebook, you know, my handy dandy notebook or whatever. And I've always been obsessed with just notebooks. I learned eventually stop buying the dated ones because then I have 15 and I can't get through them in 1 year. Now it's from 2021. But I just love just, you know, just the fact of buying notebooks, buying nice pens and having them sitting, waiting for me. Like I'm finishing up with
mhm,
one of my journals right now. I can't wait to open up the next one. It's already sitting, waiting for me. But it was really, really my safe space. I happen to have a lot of people that I thought I could be safe with, or I thought were genuine to me and, you know, good listeners like I was, empathetic and all that. And sometimes people are around for what they can get from you. In
yep,
whatever aspect, it doesn't necessarily have to be materialistic, but I noticed that because I'm so boisterous, because I'm so quirky and outgoing and all that, that I literally irritate some people. And I know that I irritate my friends a lot, you know, but I take pride in like stuff like that because it's like, you know,
mm,
whatever. I'm a play fiend. I'm very childlike when it comes to that. But I realized that the warmth that I thought that I brung everybody wasn't warm for everybody. I was
mm,
literally burning some people with my light. And that just annoyed the crap out of them. And once I realized that no matter what I did, people were going to feel that way, and that it
mhm,
was none of my business,
yep,
I really was able to like really break out of my shell. Yes, I'm flawed. Yes, I make mistakes. I don't have it all together. But when people try to hold you up on that pedestal just to kick it from under you, you know, it takes a lot to get back to where you are, or, you know, trying to feel like you're not an imposter. What you're doing is impactful and all of that stuff. And it just made me switch up my network. It made me switch up the people that I was around because people shouldn't maliciously, purposely want to hurt someone that they care about. You know what I
right,
mean? So it took me back full circle, like when I was a little girl with my little notebooks, a little 5-star notebooks and stuff like that.
yes,
Just getting back to that now, you know. And even before we started today, I looked back to see if I wrote in my book last year this time, and I didn't write on it on this day, but I wrote on it the day before and the day after. So I'm like, that's all the affirmation, you know, that I need. And you know, just to make sure that I keep putting myself out there so that the people that I do warmth can see me, and me not so much worrying about the people that have issues or problems or can't take the light that I bring.
right. Because, and that is something that we all struggle with because once we know that we love ourselves, we accept ourselves, we feel like everyone's going to accept us because we're
Mhm.
doing and being exactly at what we should. But when you are really in alignment with who you're supposed to be and your divine purpose, it's going to reach the people it's supposed to, and the other people are going to be non-factors, and we just have to accept that. Like,
Yes.
who I am may not be for everybody, but one, that means that I am who I am,
Hmm.
and two, that means I am who I need to be for someone. I might not be for everybody, but I am essential. I am necessary,
Right.
and so
Right.
I'm glad that you shared that, and I couldn't imagine what it was like to be so raw on that podcast and have that moment in real time. But that is the power of conversation. You can never underestimate the power of just organic, true conversation because it can take you to another space and unlock things. And that's what journaling has always been for me since I was a child. I was the emotional kid. So no one really cared. I was the crybaby. So I had to write it all down.
Mhm.
And so that was a conversation with myself, with God, my angels, just to get it all out. And that's how I learned to understand myself and cope better. I did get a better rate on my emotions through journaling as well.
Absolutely. It's one of the most intimate things that you can encounter. And it's crazy that a lot of people don't even know what intimacy means. You know, they only involve
Mm,
it with the physical aspect of it. But um to be so well spoken and not scared to stand up in front of crowds and all that. You know how many times I wrote stuff down and said it in the mirror or recorded it? Like I literally built myself up to where I want to be. How I'm going to be on TED Talks if I can't talk in a room full of people?
mm,
You know, how can I be that personality or improv if I can't be put on the spot as soon as I walk into a room? You know what I mean? So yes, I might be shaking inside, but that poker face is already on because somebody's watching me. And it's not so much someone's watching me to maybe help me elevate, but somebody's watching me so that I can get them to the point where they can see it through. You know, some people can't even see past today, past an hour
mhm,
from now, past whatever they're feeling. And a lot of times, a lot of the things that we went through at a point, we got through 'em. You know, I'm pretty sure it's a struggle that or something that you went through. It's like, oh my God, I'm never going to get through this. I'm never going to get by. And look at you, got by, got through it. You
yep,
know, so again, it's good to be in that present moment, but just to know that you are not, you know, your struggle and that um, everything that you go through is a lesson or an example of what you want and do not want out of life, you know, and that life is short. Go for it. Go for it now. People make fun of me. Look, I said I was a foot model. I wear a size 11 shoe. Every time I say that, they're like,
yes,
girl, yes,
yes, I
hundreds
love
of
it.
dollars for 15 minutes, honey. Yes, I'm a
That's
regular.
right.
Thank you. You know what I mean?
Look,
Why not? Why not?
I mean, pretty feet are pretty feet.
Right.
It
You
doesn't
know?
matter.
You gonna take pictures for me? That's all I have to do? Yes, go ahead, by all means. You know what I mean? So um just literally going for it. Like just go for it. You know, like why not? The time is gonna pass anyway. Life is so short, you know. Just try. Try whatever it is that you want to try. Why not?
Yeah, and that's where I'm at in my life now. I just turned 30 in January, and that is where I'm at. I'm like, you know what? I want to live and wish I didn't do something instead of wishing I never did it. That's
Yes,
where I'm at.
yes.
And I just have I've I carved out this life. I said this is what I want my daughter, that's my firstborn, to know about her life and what she can be. She could do anything. And that forced me to break out of my shell because I had to model that behavior.
Right.
And so now I'm in my selfish era, I guess, because I need to be an example for her. And so I have to stay true to me. Otherwise,
Hmm.
what are my children going to think? They're going to think that they have to be corporate drones and fit in a box and not be true to themselves. So I'm trying to honor that. And it's not, I don't want to say it's coming easy, but I I'm just overwhelmed with gratitude for all the things that are affirming that this is where I'm supposed to be.
Yes, yes. And that's how it's supposed to be, you know. And you know, that's the main thing with my son, just building that legacy from for him and him not being raised off of struggle instead of love and you know, just being affectionate with him because I didn't grow up
Mhm.
with affection. You know, being able to talk to him. More importantly, him being able to come and talk to me. He's a 17-year
Yes.
old, junior in high school. He has a girlfriend and everything. And whatever I ask him, he answers me. Honestly, he still asks me, can I go to the store? Can I go to the park? And it's like at that age, you should, but you know, he could easily have a curfew and just be in by that time. You know, he's a good kid, but him being able to come and talk to me when it was certain things that I say to my mom, like, oh my God, I'm not gonna make it to tomorrow. You know, she's gonna slap me into next week or something like that. Just being able to have that relationship with him now as a child instead of, you know, just waiting until he becomes an adult. So now that we, you know, now we can be cordial or friends because you're of age. You know, I always want him to know that he can come to me no matter what. I put him in modeling classes because he's tall. He's like 6 feet, size 14 shoe, but he tries to like
Wow.
evaporate into the wall and into the
Oh.
crowds. And I'm like, you're tall, dark, and handsome. No matter what you do, you're going to be seen. But I
Mhm.
noticed that he was very like shy. He's the opposite of me. He's an introvert. So I put him in classes just to build his confidence, you know? So just literally giving him any kind of opportunity. Honestly, it started off as any opportunity that I thought I wanted as a kid. So I always make sure like he dresses fly, all this stuff. My baby does not care about none of that. He would wear the same sweatsuit every day if I let him. You know, and a lot of the experiences that I've given him or have afforded him to have, it doesn't really, you know, it doesn't really matter to him. And that made me realize that those things didn't really matter, period. You know, I was
Mm.
trying to fill those voids with something materialistically, because it was something, um, you know, I guess mentally, emotionally that I didn't have with, you know, growing up in my household. So, you know, it's just literally breaking those generational curses, making sure that I am doing what I need to do for him so that when it's time for him to have his kids, all of the negative things that I grew up with is not even his norm. You know what I mean? And that all
Mhm.
matters. You know, your little girl is going to be someone's wife one day. My son is going to be someone's husband one day, you know? And I never want to hear that my kid was toxic or this or that. I want to know that he's a good listener. I want to know that he's going to protect his family. He's going to take care of others. I want to know he's going to be a standing contribution to the community and, you know, all of those things. Like, I want him to be all of the things that I know that he is, but all of the things that he knows that he is as well, you know? So, just by busting my butt, he'll tell you, and I'm like, oh God, my mom's doing something again. Or it's like, shut up, I'm about to start a recording,
Yep.
you know, and stuff like that. So it's like he gets it, he comes to these events, he's going to pod fest with me and all of that. So I just put him out there. Who knows? He might jump into things like what I'm doing, he might not. It might go a totally opposite way, but I just want him to know that those opportunities are there. And if he wanted it, and whatever opportunity it is that he wants, we're going to go grab them together. Like, I'm here for you. Let me know. I'm your biggest fan. So
I love that. I love that we're in the same philosophy with that, where, yes, at first I had a list of things I wanted my daughter to know that I didn't get to know or didn't get to experience. But then as she develops into her own person, I'm like, okay, this is what's important to her.
mhm,
So let me tap into this. And I think that there's something to be said about the creativity an art that is necessary to parent effectively,
mhm,
because you do have to be flexible. You do have to see things from a perspective that's different than yours and get creative to tap into what that child needs,
mhm.
instead of just going, okay, this is the formula I've set and I'm going to do this, A plus B equals C. That it turns into calculus the older they get, it
Yeah,
seems like. And she's only 5, and I
yeah.
already feel like I'm in college math trying to figure out how to address her needs. But I'm glad, I'm happy about it. And so you saying that you saw that he was kind of evaporating into the wall and you saw that need, oh, I need to make him more confident, let's put him in modeling so he can grab his confidence, being able to anticipate and notice needs and address them in a creative way, instead of going, you need to get over it, you need to be confident. You put him in something active so that it's an environment that actually nurtures that as well. So I think there's a lot to be said about creatives being effective parents. A lot of creatives I know have, enriching relationships with their children, where their children do speak with them.
Mhm.
And that's a goal for me. Obviously she's 5, so she tells you everything right now.
Right.
And um I even told her about journaling, because she's really emotional. And I'm like, mommy used to journal when she was a kid. Do you want to journal with me? Um so I think there's a lot to be said about that. And I really appreciate you, even 17 years in, that just is affirmation for me, because it is something that my husband and I have been meditating on making sure we're doing it right.
Yeah. And I mean, there's no instruction manual. So, you know, you're 30 years old. So for you to be in that mind frame at your age, that's, you know, that's all that you can do at this point. You know, we just do our best. And I mean, unfortunately, there's always a thing or two once the kid gets grown that they thought we could have did better. We grow more than they do. You know, they're
Mm,
growing physically, you know, in front of our eyes, but we grow more as people by raising these little people.
mm,
You know what I mean? And he's taught me so much patience, um, so much grace. Anytime that I might be struggling, or if I feel like I can't do something, it's like, all right, it don't matter if you can't do it for you, Tone. You got to do it for Jakai. You know what I mean? So it's like he holds me accountable in so many ways that he doesn't even know. But just to see his future and where he's going and stuff like that, it means so much to me, to be able to see that. And my friends say I'm crazy because I want more. They're like, you're almost done, and I'm like, no, I want more. I want to raise one kid at a time. But it's probably one of my biggest accomplishments in life, and just letting him know that my mom went for everything. She did whatever she wanted to do when she wanted to do it. Like, all right, she went to school, she got a bachelor's degree, but nothing that I'm doing right now involves that degree. It's pretty much experience and me just being, who I am, and that quirkiness and that boisterousness. All of this stuff got me in trouble as a kid. My little outbursts and singing loud, and I was in trouble. I was always on punishment, like, go to bed. It's like, Mom, it's only 3 o'clock. I don't care. You almost gave me a heart attack. And I'm that same person. This is my personality. So just loving on him and him being a little quirky, or how he's yelling and screaming to his PS5 friends, and how he loves anime. And even though he's tall, he's not a stereotype. He doesn't like football. He doesn't want to play sports, So just breaking those barriers and those norms, and just literally pushing things out of the way to give him space to do whatever it is that he wants to do. Like, I'm your biggest fan. I'm your biggest fan, and we out here. So it's like, I could talk about my baby all day. People say, why you call him a baby? He bigger than you. He bigger than most men. But, he will always, be my baby. Tone Motivates is my second child. So if you come for either of them, then we got a problem. But other than that, it's full circle for me, just that nurturing, that encouragement, that safe space, all of that. I had everything that I wanted materialistically, growing up. But even though I was in a house full of people, I felt like, and I always say this, my friend's like, oh my gosh, she's going to tell a story again. But Home Alone, the very first one, right?
Yeah.
And Kevin and his brother get into an argument, and they send him upstairs to the attic. And even though he was in a house full of family members, he still felt alone. He still felt alone.
He did.
And I felt that way for so long, and I built myself up. Because at first, I guess you could say it was a facade. I did think like, well, am I an imposter? Is this what I want to do with that? But I wanted to write a certain way. So I was going to practice how to write until I learned that penmanship. I wanted to speak a certain way. Well, back in my day, we had the phone lines and chat lines and all that stuff. So I practiced on that. Back in the day, they play the music first and be like, hey, what's up? It's Tone. You reach me and I'm not here right now.
I remember that.
I practiced that for years, over and over and over again. So, that goes back into how I wanted to present myself, or how I wanted to be seen, and how I wanted to be noticed, and, all that stuff. Now it's like, you can feel my confidence walking into the room. I'm here, baby. What's up? But just letting everyone know that it's little voices in our head that talk to us bad, or that could be our worst enemy, in addition to our best friend. And a lot of times it's our thoughts that break us down, that makes us feel this way. Nobody's saying that to us, it's us. We're saying it. Yep. Oh, you're stupid, you're this, you're that. I wish you were taller. I wish your hair was longer. I wish your hair was curlier, or straighter teeth, and all this extra stuff, instead of just embracing who it is that, you are. Through and through, I lost 100 pounds about 3 or 4 years ago. And honey, thank you. I am the crop top queen.
Yes.
Okay. I will rock a crop top. I don't care. Anything crop, I am there. And I just did a modeling show a few months ago. And these women, from like high school or something, they might have gained 10, 20 pounds. These women are like in their early 40s now. Right. And the stylist is like, well, who's going to do a crop top? And they're like, oh, I got to do some crunch. I will. You know what I mean? It's like, oh, well, you want to do my little blubber, my little stomach. You're going to get all of this. You know what I mean? Because I'm going to exude that confidence. You're not going to be checking for, if I have if my stomach is coming over my shorts or whatever the case may be. Like, no, I'm good with it. I have to show that confidence. Like, this is me, how I am, and this is how you're going to take me, period. And a lot of times people will,
Oh, absolutely. Nobody really is criticizing that unless they have something insecure within themselves.
Exactly.
I I that's why I love drag shows. I do burlesque. And I love going to burlesque shows and drag shows. I say if I ever hit the lottery, that will be the sign because I would just like blow so much money at those shows because everyone is embraced and everybody looks good and knows they look good. And I can't remember where it is I heard it. It was from a movie or something. But the saying was the world belongs to those who know who they are. And
Mm,
I think there is a lot to be said about knowing who you are. A lot of those negative inner voices we have aren't our own. They're from, social programming, what society has told us, what, sometimes our parents have said to us in love, but because society told them to tell us that. It's not us. If you just focus on what does this mean to me? What do I want to do? What's important to me? How do I want to show up in the world?
right.
it it changes it, and that's why I love to journal even more now as an adult, because instead of me just saying I feel this way and I'm feeling bad because of all these things surrounding me, now I'm like, this is what this means to me. I am the
Mhm.
authority. I am the author of my life. And that's why I'm doing this podcast, because I want people to tune into their inner voices, because once you hear your voice loud and clear, it changes how you interact with people who don't even agree with you. It changes everything.
Right. Right. Absolutely. I absolutely um, agree with it. And I've been reading this book. I didn't want to mess up the book. I think it's called All About Love,
Hmm.
and I make sure I show what Globe, in case you want to put it in like the speaker notes and stuff like that. But
Mhm.
it was just about growing up, and you weren't necessarily abused or neglected or this or that, but who is to say what love is?
Mm.
And since your parents had a roof over your head or this or that, that was love. You know what I mean? Did you feel loved? And a lot
Mm.
of the times it's like, okay, you know that they meant love, but you became accustomed to that love through them. That might not be how you wanted to receive love or what
Mm.
you thought love was. So it's like, all right, that tough, like for me, my love that I received in my household made me an overachiever. It made me someone that I could win an award today, be at the ceremony, like, oh, I want to give a shout out to my mom and dad and God and da, da, da. And that night, I'm like, all right, get my notebook. What's next? You know what
Yep.
I mean? I have to physically make myself sit down, enjoy, and have grace over whatever I just accomplished. Like, Tone, you did this, you deserved. Like, I still have to say that stuff to myself sometimes. Like, you deserve it. I recently hit six figures. I'm like,
Congrats.
what? I'm
Look at
like,
you.
what? And I'm like simply going about and doing all that I wanted to do. But then I left my job of 10 years. People look at that, well, why would you do that? You've been there for 10 years. Da, da, da. Nope, I'm going to make that same amount of money on my own. But now's the time. I said after I was done with this specific project that I was going to jump out the window. So I did it. Now, have I fell on my face a couple times? But guess what? If you're at the bottom, why would you want to stay there? So it's up, get back up, dust myself off, try again. Because a lot of people ask for stuff, but they're not putting no work behind it. So you can't say, oh, I want this and it's just gonna fall in your lap. Now, sometimes it will, because you have moved, you have space in your hands, you've let go of something to be able to catch something new. But a lot of the
Mm.
times you have to ask for something and go out and work towards it. So I didn't just leave the company I was with for 10 years on nothing. No, I got the cognitive behavior therapy. I started actually building clients and stuff like that. You
Mhm.
know what I mean? So now I jumped out the window like, yes, I'm scared out of my mind, but I could be a paraprofessional. I can do substitute teaching just as a plan B. I'm a whole teacher there now. I never thought in September that this is what I would be doing now. You know what I mean? So now I have 206 little clients. Who
Oh.
knew? But if I never jumped out the window in August, I wouldn't have even been available to take the substitute job. You know what I mean? So it's like I don't mind being scared. I don't mind being scared. I don't mind being uncomfortable. And I know, a lot of people like to be safe than sorry. But I just do not like to live in regret. If I'm losing sleep at night, it ain't because of regret. It ain't because I should have did this or I should have did that. I try my best to follow my heart. And even if that does not get me the result that I wanted, at the least I know that I've followed my heart, and that's all that matters. Like when I'm sitting on my deathbed or, whatever the case may be, and I can't travel as much as I love to and all that, I want those experiences to bring me joy and, light me up when I'm, stationary and unable to go anywhere and, all of that stuff. I want those memories to, carry me through my golden years or whatever the case may be. I don't want to be talking about how I wish I had more money or I wish I had
Mhm.
this or I wish I had that. No, I want to talk about how me and their grandfather jumped out of a plane together. We went zip lining. We went to Bali. We went to Dubai and St. Kitts. And no, it's all about experiences, and like you were saying, we can be that worst enemy. Nobody knows what your mind is saying to yourself. And I even talk to the kids about that. A lot of times you don't even notice that you're saying bad things to yourself, right? So a quick tip on that. Look, now I'm acting like a daggone therapist. So
Yes.
a quick way to change your thought pattern. And if you're thinking of something negative, or when you notice that you're thinking of something negative, right? Because usually it's only one little thought and then it snowballs into like a whole story, a whole scenario, all the things that's been upsetting you recently, right? As soon as you think of that negative thought, think of the funniest thing that you've witnessed recently. So typically with me, it's something that the kids have done. For example, my new one is we have a little boy in school. He's in kindergarten. Everybody in the entire school from K to 8 know this little boy. And everybody walks in and like, oh, hi, Miss Franklin. Hi, Miss Franklin. And this little boy says, hi, table. And I said, what? Hi, table. Look at me dead in my face. And, he just, I don't like to call kids bad. He just make bad choices. He make bad decisions. But it threw me off right then and there because I'm like, it don't matter what shape, size, height I am. Ain't nobody no table. Nobody is no
Right.
table. But he had to be different. And another sidebar, kids are their most authentic selves at these kindergarten ages. So your daughter right now
Mhm.
is her most authentic self. So all you have to do is try to keep her in that authenticity. That's all you have to do is keep her in that,
Ooh.
But I went home later that day and I had a drink or two and I was telling my friend, about the day or whatever. And when I mentioned it to her, I'm like, I was crying, laughing like this little boy really called me a table. Right. So now every time I think negative, I'm thinking of that little boy calling me a table. You know what I mean? So it's just a way of immediately stopping what the negative thought is and replacing it with a happier thought or a happier feeling. And then once you think of that little funny thing, if you go back to the negative, just think of something else funny. And then typically you'll start to notice how quickly you realize that you're thinking negatively.
I love that. That's a
Mhm.
great way to check yourself instead of saying like stop it. Because that's what I do when I
Now,
think
sometimes you need
negatively.
it. You need it. Sometimes,
I'm
like,
like,
Tone, just
stop.
stop. Like, I'm out loud. People looking at my Tone, stop. Just that way, when we're not going to do that. Sometimes you literally, because, I'm also an overthinker. So it's like, all right, you got rid of that one. I got 10 more lined up for you, So just literally, sometimes I have to say it out loud. I will say it like, girl, I look at my mirror. I talk to myself in the mirror, all that. Like, look, girl, you got to get it together. That this ain't this ain't that. You're better than that. And honestly, sometimes you just need that little pep talk. That's all you need is that little pep talk.
Yeah, and I would say parenting has helped me with that, redirecting myself because I never want to tell my children that they're being bad or anything like that.
Mhm,
So when I'm thinking like that, I do still kind of use the slap in the face technique. So I'm going to try yours, but I'll just say, "Hey, you're better than this.
mhm.
Dial it back. You're better than this. What do you want this moment to be like? Let's shape it. Let's," because I used to be a little daydreamer too, because I had to escape. Escapism was
Yeah.
like a big thing for me as a kid, which is why I'm still an avid reader today. So I was just like, what do you want it to be? Shape it. But I'm gonna try the funny thing because I see my husband do that with my daughter all the time. He'll just show me in her moment, and he'll try to rationalize with her like how it's okay, like we can get past this. And if she doesn't, he will be like, okay, I dare you not to smile. And then she's just, it's over. It's over.
Right.
The moment's over. So I'm
Yeah.
going to try that. Cool. Well, this conversation has been so great. I really do want this one question answered before we go to the sip on, something to sip on. What is, if there's anything, um, what is the art or creative thing that you are most proud of, or just what comes to mind right now?
Well,
Oh, you wrote it. Yes.
yeah. Let's see. You said the one I'm most connected to.
Oh, that's a good one too.
What was your
Uh,
question? The one you asked is the one you
uh,
gave me, right?
yeah, it's the
Oh, which one is
second
the
one.
first? Okay, second
Mhm.
one. What are you? Oh, okay. So I would have to say my publications. With both of the publications, it wasn't something that I had reached out for, anything like that. They reached out to me. So it's like,
Oh.
so I have a publication with One is Magazine as well as Who Am I?
Mhm.
And that was really, really, really big deals for me. So I would love that. I would say that because it's something that I can. Well, you already know that I've bought my own copies and I'm like laminating them, and it's in my son's stuff so he can look at it when he gets older. And all. I'm very, very sentimental um, person. So yes, Who Am I? And One is Magazine, and I would guess Shades of Tone, my podcast as well. A lot of podcasting, well, it's different types of podcasting, but some people like have guests and all of that stuff. And a lot of people have asked me, like, oh, well, when are you going to have guests on? I'd love to be a guest. And
Mhm.
I just recently decided that I don't really want any guests on it. It's more of an insight podcast, and it's like
Mm.
15-minute blurbs. You know what I
Oh.
mean? So it's 15 minutes. You get your motivation or whatever you need for the day, and you keep it moving. I think the longest one I might have had was 30, 45 minutes. But it's just as if we was having this conversation, without the cameras and the mic and all that. It's just like a one-on-one. So I really love that because it gives people an inside look on me. I know I come off as, oh, well, she has it together and it's this and that. No, I still struggle getting up in the morning. I still struggle working out, not eating out all the time. Like I'm just a regular person being conscious and aware of what I want to change and the steps that I have to take to change it, So Shades of Tone literally is just like the different layers of a biscuit that you peeling off and stuff. And all of us have those layers, we have
Mhm.
shades of glow, shades of tone, shades of everybody, and it's up to us what we want to show. And I just try to be as transparent as possible, letting people know we can go through all of these layers and we can get to the bottom of this biscuit, but I cannot do it alone. If you're going to see me transparent and vulnerable, I need you to do the same. I need you to be serious and I need you to take this seriously, because it's very important to me. So I would say that mostly, really being able to get people out of that vulnerability and into that little bit of being uncomfortable so that they can make a change. And you'd be surprised. People just literally come up to me and just throw up in my lap. So it doesn't take much to get them to that point. And I think it's because they see that I am genuine, and
Mhm.
I hold eye contact until you look away. Like I'm in.
Yes,
Like if I'm
yes.
listening, I'm in. You got me. The phone is down. What's up? Because all of us need that. And a lot of times people listen to respond instead of listening to understand. And simply put, all the time, people do not need your opinion. People do not want to hear what you got to say about it all the time. All they need is a shoulder to cry on. All they need is to vent. So I'm really big on that with my friends as well. Unless they ask, what's your opinion, Tone, or what do you think?
Mhm.
I don't got nothing to say because I could sit here and cry on your shoulder and you'd be like, look, Tone, do this, do this, do that. I'd be like, all right, sis, I love you. Bye. Guess what?
Right, nothing.
I'm not doing none of this. You know what I mean? But they love me for that because they know even though I heard you, I'm still going to do what I have to do for me, just like you should. You know what I mean? We
Mhm.
have one life to live, so YOLO. That's how I look at
I love that. I wanna say that I love that you have your conviction on how your podcast is set, and you're not gonna let anyone, change it. I love that because Everyone wants to tell you how to do podcasting, and it's like, hey, I went into this with the mission, and this is my vision for the mission, and this is how I'm going to accomplish it.
Right.
For me personally, mine is guest heavy because I want people to unlock their inner voices. So having more than one voice and seeing other people do that, for me, feels like the best way to achieve it for me.
Right.
For
Right.
me. But I do think there's a lot to be said about motivating people with that one-on-one intimacy. And I love that you're like, hey, this is how I'm doing it, and this is how I'm doing it. And it's important that people know, don't look around. Don't look around. Tap
Blinders.
tap into you, because that is what people are going to respond to the most, is what you are doing. You want to build a loyal audience, you need to be loyal to yourself.
Mm-hmm.
So thank you so much for sharing that. I think that is going to be its own clip, because so many podcasters need to know that. They're worried about what's trending, what to do for this and that, and it's like, if you follow that, you're going to have a fleeting audience, a fleeting impact. If you want to have a lasting impact, do what you're supposed to do, because that's what you're here for.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
So I just gave us something to sip on, I guess. But before we go, I do want you to just get on your podium and tell the audience something to sip on. So I'm going to introduce our next segment, Something to Sip On. All right, Tone Motivates. When it comes to creative expression and unlocking your own power, what is something you want to leave the audience with to sip on?
Be true to yourself. Live in your truth. It's the acronym LIT, LIYT, but for me is living your truth. A lot of times we go around navigating around other people's lives, and I'm not. I simply do not do that. I kick through doors. I'm in rooms that people thought I wouldn't be able to be in. And honestly, it's just stepping outside of your comfort zone. As far as I'm concerned, there is no box. There's never been a box. There never will be a box. Um, and that's because I'm going to keep figuring out what I want to do for myself, so one of the main things that I've strived to be ever since a little girl, with giving you guys some background on my past and stuff like that, is to be the person that I needed. Right. So every time that I go out into the world, every time that I talk to somebody, I'm simply trying to be the person that I needed for the little girl that I was at one point. And as long as I am exuding or trying to be that person, that strong person, that person is not going to be taken advantage of, that person that's going to stand strong. You're not going to play with me. I said what I said. I deserve to be in these rooms. I'm going to work hard as, if not harder than everyone else. I'm going to prove why I deserve this. And I'm going to get it, whether you think I'm deserving of it or not. That's literally things that I walk around with every day. So sometimes you simply have to fake it until you make it. Your subconscious does not know that something is not true or not. So if you do not believe in yourself or something that you've been struggling with, start an affirmation list. Literally, you can get Post-its and post it on your bathroom mirror and just talk to yourself nice. Okay. I am a boss, so I'm going to say that every day. I do boss things. I travel as a boss, and whatever boss means for me is what I mean. I don't mean what everybody else mean. I mean what I mean, what you mean, what it is that you want. So just having that difficult conversation of what it is that you want, because people say, "Oh, I want money." For what? What are you doing with it? You know what I mean? Be specific in what it is that you want out of life, and then start figuring out ways to accomplish every single one. Again, the time is going to pass anyway. So those baby steps, one baby step every day this year is going to have you 365 steps closer to your goal at the end of the year. So
Ooh, I love it. That's hot tea right there.
bars.
Bars, indeed. Thank you so much. This has been such an amazing conversation. Now I know why people want you to have them as guests because it's such a pleasure talking to you.
You too, you too, you too.
So before we go, of course, it will be in the show notes, but some people are audio learners. So if you could just tell them where you would like to be found.
Sure. So you can reach me at Tone Motivates, and that's Instagram, Facebook, TikTok. You can reach out to me at tonemotivates.com. You can email me at info@tonemotivates.com. And pretty much you could find me all over everywhere. You can Google me, baby. I'm there.
She is, I did. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. And thanks again to Motivates for coming and sipping with us. You, as always, you can always find us at Verbal Tea Time on Instagram and at Verbal Tea on Spotify, Amazon, and Music, anywhere you stream podcasts now, including YouTube. We are moving up. And if you all feel inspired by this podcast and want to share what you've written, you can email that to verbalteaparty@gmail.com. Once again, this is Globe and Tone Motivates. Thank you guys so much for tuning in with us. Have a great rest of your week.